Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Okay, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with Jolly Rancher Joel.
Hey guys, what's up?
You see what I did there? We're doing Candyman, so
yes,
had to do the candy.
the best candy in the world.
What is your favorite candy, actually?
My go-to used to be like Skittles.
Okay.
It's I don't know. I'm a coconut fan, so I love Mounds.
Okay.
Mounds bars and like Almond Joys.
Okay.
But I don't really eat candy all that often anymore.
Yeah. You know what I found?
I like
that's really good. There's a bag now of M&Ms that is like the chocolate M&Ms, the peanut M&Ms, and the peanut butter M&Ms all mixed into one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that is my go-to right now.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm at the theater, they don't have that at the theater, so they have Kit Kat, so I might grab one of those.
Get a Kit Kat. Spend $3 on a Kit Kat.
Yeah. More like $5.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, we're going to talk about Candyman, the original from 1992. And then the next episode will be the 2021 Candyman. So,
yes,
we'll get you guys nice and ready to talk about that one. All right, Joel, who is in Candyman?
So this one stars a little guy known as Tony Todd.
Yeah.
He is Candyman. He was in Candyman 2 and 3. Night of the Living Dead and Hatchet 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So he is a horror icon. He's been in lots of horror movies. And then we have Virginia Madsen. She was in Haunting in Connecticut, Number 23, and The Prophecy.
Oh, cool.
I was trying to keep the horror theme going for all these guys, but this one was harder to find.
Okay.
The third one is Xander Berkeley. He was in Air Force One, Terminator 2, Heat.
Oh, that guy.
And and the horror was The Walking Dead. He was in the last season of The Walking Dead. This last season, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or season 9 of The Walking Dead. We're on 11 right now.
Oh, wow.
The final season though, so
yeah, that's good.
And he was in a little show that we used to watch called 24.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty good in that show. He was kind of a jerk, but then also kind of turned around.
Himself. Yeah. It was actually sad when he got killed off. That was back in season 2 or something like that. Season maybe 3.
Yeah.
And it was written by Bernard Rose. He also directed the movie as well. He wrote The Devil's Violinist.
Okay.
Snuff Movie.
Oh, wow.
And it's a 2015 version of Frankenstein.
Okay.
And he, like I said, directed it as well. And he directed Chicago Joe and the Showgirl. Such classics, man. Yeah. Inside Out 3 and 4, not the Pixar Inside Out. And SX_tape. Not sure what that is.
Okay.
But I'm assuming SX is like sex tape, maybe.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, that's this is the same director that did Candyman. So hopefully it doesn't reflect on these other movies. The other ones could be like classics, so who knows?
Yeah.
It could actually be really good.
Yeah, underrated.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the synopsis here. The Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth.
Oh, man.
Sounds just pretty cool.
Just leave this man alone. Just leave this man alone. Like, it takes 5 times to summon him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's giving you all the chances in the world to not say his name.
Yeah.
Like, you have to say my name 27 times in a row.
So yeah, like Candyman is like Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think
Bloody Mary is only 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So Candyman gives you a little more of a chance to, smarten up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this one, it's a lot of horror fans obviously know it, but I feel like it's one of the more under the radar slashers. A lot of people, like I remember hearing about Candyman as a kid, hearing about the story, like say his name 5 times in the mirror. But never saw the movie until I was an adult. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah, you didn't see it till then either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. He's not up there with like the classic slashers. I don't feel like, even though I think he probably should be. I don't think he is in that conversation too often. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's really not in the movie as much as the other slashers are.
Yeah. Like,
he's really only in, like, maybe a third of the entire movie. Like, it's not about him.
Yeah, his scenes are pretty short, too, when you see him.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. He just slashes people. I mean, he has some talking parts, I guess.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Overall, he just comes in and just, like, kills people. Like, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
Until someone else is stupid enough to say his name, and then he comes back again.
Yeah, and like with the hook and stuff, like I don't know, I feel like he should be recognized more. In the conversation with some of the classics. So,
I would definitely agree with that. He needs to be in his own movies more in order for it to happen, I guess.
All right, so what'd you think of this one? What do you like about it?
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the acting was really good in it for like an early 90s slasher movie.
Yeah.
It has some people in it that people do know. They may not know them by name, but as soon as you see their faces, you'll know who they are.
Yeah.
For the most part. And I liked the music. I think it's got its own theme.
It does.
Going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I really liked. It's, again, not, just like he should be more iconic in the slasher world. The theme, I feel like, should be a little bit more iconic than it is.
Yeah.
It's never talked about.
Yeah. Really. It's good. It's a little
cool, yeah.
It's a little piano little piano action, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of unassuming, but within the context of the movie, it's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I love the lore of Candyman.
Yeah.
I like how they dove a little bit into his background, into his past, but they didn't it wasn't a focal point of the movie.
Yeah.
It was basically like a little, not even 5-minute description of his past.
Yeah.
Which I do, in the world that we live in now with like prequels and everything like that, where we need to give every single person their own background story, like their own individual movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to go back and just get like a 5-minute explanation as to why he's here.
Right.
Like we don't need a full on like movie. We don't need you to spend like 30 minutes on his background.
Right.
Just give us a couple sentences and you're good.
Yeah. And that's sometimes, even better because it still adds some mystery. It's not so like laid out for you and explained to so much detail. Yeah, so it gives Candyman this mystery still. Even though you know a little bit about his like motivations and why he's there, it's still, not so spelled out for you. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of like you don't actually see a lot of like the violence go on. You hear it's very descriptively you hear what's going on.
Yeah.
With that hook.
Yeah.
But there is one scene with I think her lawyer.
Oh, her doctor. The doctor.
Yeah. Where he comes up behind Tim and just like you see it all happen.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
That was my favorite scene for sure.
Yeah. It's sometimes not necessary to actually see some of the stuff happen. If you can hear it going on, but sometimes it is like necessary. For like a slasher movie, you have to sometimes see what's going on.
Yeah.
And we definitely saw it that time, which was pretty intense.
Yeah, she's like being basically she's looking really crazy because people keep dying around her, and she looks like a murderer, but she keeps talking about this person who nobody can see. And so she's trying to like prove it to this doctor, and she says Candyman 5 times in this reflection in the doctor's office. And then you kind of think,
I don't know what she was expecting to happen.
It's like there's like a few seconds, so you kind of think like, okay, it's not going to work, and then boom, he's like right behind him, and man, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And then he flies out the window.
Yeah. That's another thing too that I liked about the movie was the fact that, people were clearly like dying all around her. And they actually dove into that and were like, ended up putting her into a mental institution because of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty cool little, little thing to do to your main character. Like make them feel like they're crazy. Make the audience think that maybe Candyman doesn't exist and maybe she's actually doing this kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, like we know we actually see Candyman, so we know it's, not actually her, but it could still be like, psychological thrillers do that sometimes where you see another person actually committing the crimes, but then it turns out to actually have been the main character the entire time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it seemed like they were going for in this. Which would have been a cool little twist instead of just a straightforward like slasher movie. Have, her be the one that's going crazy, which at the very end, this movie's like 30 years old. We can do spoilers. At the very end, the husband, she's dead at this point, and the husband says her name 5 times, and she appears in like the bathroom area and ends up killing him. That's how the movie ends, which is a really cool.
I loved the ending.
Yeah, the ending was really cool. I kind of wish they had kept that going with the second. I don't think she's in the second one. I didn't see her name at all in when I was looking her movies up. It would have been cool if they had continued that on, but maybe have her take up the mantle of Candyman. Instead of, I mean, it's cool to have Tony Todd be in these movies too, but it would have been And I guess you can't really take up the mantle with a character that's only been the character for one movie. That's kind of, that's something that happens like many movies down the road.
Yeah.
Or if the characters or the actor's like really old and doesn't want to do the part anymore.
Right.
But yeah, so I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
For an early 90s slasher movie, it was good.
Yeah.
Definitely an underrated movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, yeah, so for me, the score, the theme song, this is a short story by Clive Barker.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I can't remember. Dang it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I just heard the other day that it was something different than Candyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's about that and that short story, and it kind of, without even knowing that, it kind of did give me the feel of like Hellraiser, like the dark, gothic kind of feel that it has, and the way that Candyman talks, his the lines that he has, it's very profound and very like, philosophical and all. He's a very intelligent slasher. Slasher villain.
Yeah. I loved his like booming voice.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned this in our Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Yeah.
That we did, that I didn't like his like booming voice. It sounded like there was a microphone like on him.
Yeah.
At all times, and that's what it sounded like with Candyman 2. Like they actually put like a microphone on him when he was talking, to make his voice sound just more like, I guess booming is a word. I don't know. It's the word. That's the word I'm going for anyway. To make his presence like really known.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but it worked here. For this character. I liked the booming voice. And it would have been really cool to see this in theaters.
Yeah.
To hear just to hear his lines in the movie.
Yeah, right at the beginning you get that with it shows like a bunch of bees and you get to hear him talk. And then later in the movie, one of my favorite scenes is Helen, the main character. She's in a parking garage, and it's like an empty parking garage. She's like the only car there. And she's trying to get into her car. And he's behind her, like super far away, like at the other end of the parking garage. He's there and he's like, Helen.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's like so far away, but it's still like scary. Like he has no chance of getting her. Like she could easily get in the car and drive away because he's so far away, but he's just like standing there with his hands behind his back and like kind of like looking up, and then he like pulls his hand down. He's got, the hook and everything. And I don't know, like the way that they filmed that, it looked really cool, like the spacing and everything.
I don't remember. Did it ever explain like why he chose her?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
It did.
That's the end.
Okay.
That's toward the end.
Yeah, that's right. I should have watched this like right before we did this, because I watched it like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And
it's so that's going to be kind of one of my negatives. So we'll save that for a little bit later, but I'll talk about why he chose her and how we kind of figure that out. So there's a line there's like this little boy who's one of the better characters in the movie for sure. He kind of is like helping Helen and telling her about Candyman and stuff within the neighborhood. And he's telling her this story about this kid who, was in the bathroom, and Candyman got him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he says, because I guess what happened was he had his appendage removed, like cut off. And so the little boy's like,
remember that?
They found it in the toilet. Can't fix that. Better off dead. I just thought that was so
scene,
funny. So that was good. Another scene that was really good was when she wakes up in the bathroom of an apartment and she's all bloody. Mm-hmm. This is right after the parking garage. She just like blacks out, wakes up in this bathroom. She's all bloody. There's blood everywhere. She goes like out of the bathroom. There's a dog's head cut off right there. And then there's a lady who she had met previously or earlier in the movie, just freaking out because her baby is missing. And there's just blood everywhere. And obviously this lady thinks that she did it. And so she starts attacking her. And this is kind of where the whole, where everything starts with her looking like a murderer. And that scene was just something about the blood. It looked so real. It looked legit, and the dog's head and everything, and just the atmosphere there.
They actually killed a dog for that scene. Yeah.
I sure hope not.
Got to get our shot right.
Right. So yeah, there's that scene, and then there's another scene with her friend, her like best friend. She's doing this research with, ends up getting killed by Candyman, and it looks like it was her. But I just like though
she's always just like around. She's like holding a
knife,
holding a knife every time the police every time.
Yeah,
she's covered in blood every time. Like of course she's gonna be suspicious.
Oh yeah, no, Candyman did a good job setting her up.
Yeah.
But I like the overall story. Like I like the story of it's these two grad students writing a paper on like an urban legend, and they decide to write a paper on Candyman, and they have to go to this neighborhood, Cabrini Green in Chicago, which is where his like story is, and they learn about that it's a housing project, so they learn about that area. It's a rough area, kind of just like a forgotten part of Chicago, and and that's where Candyman kills people. And so she, during her research, to her, she discovers that Candyman isn't real. She discovers that it's just people that live there that are like gangsters or whatever. They're the ones committing these acts and saying that they're Candyman. Because she gets beat by a dude with a hook who said he was Candyman.
Yeah.
Which he wasn't.
It wasn't Candyman. It wasn't the Candyman.
It wasn't the Candyman, yes.
You may have candy in your pocket, which can make you a Candyman.
So then he's like, no, that's not Candyman. I will show you Candyman. So yeah, I like the story, and I like the, he was I think it was the son of a slave in the 1800s, became wealthy and was an artist.
Didn't he own like a sneaker?
His dad, I think his dad became wealthy, or I can't remember. It was like some invention with shoes. I don't remember. Yeah. But anyways, he became an artist and was doing paintings of this woman. And it was this guy's daughter. He hired him to do these paintings. And then he ended up sleeping with her. So that made the father pretty mad. And so they killed him. Cut his hand off, covered him in honey, bees attacked him, and stung him to death.
Yeah.
So that's how he became Candyman. I don't know why they put a hook in his arm. I don't know what the point of that was, but...
Yeah, I don't think they went into that.
I mean, if you're just going to kill him, why do you have to give him a hook?
Yeah.
That's just asking for him to come back and kill you.
Exactly. I'm going to chop your hand off and give you a hook. That's actually kind of cool. All right.
So, yeah, and then so he comes back, basically through that, and he's looking for her. That's how she kind of gets roped into the story. So, anyways, those are all my positives.
All right.
Let's let's see what we didn't like.
Okay. So there really isn't much, but I'm going to say that one of the things I didn't like, which I did mention earlier in my positives when I talked about the doctor scene, was that's pretty much the only actual scene that you see him actually kill somebody in.
Yeah.
Like, you hear the screaming, you hear the tearing of the flesh from the hook.
From groin to gullet.
Exactly, which is disturbing, but it'd be really cool to, see some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a slasher movie, technically. Yeah. So you want to see the slashings in these movies. So that's one thing. I mean, they did get the blood right for the most part in some of the scenes. It actually looked like blood, like you were saying. And there was quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
You see like the aftermath of what he does, and I want to see the before math. I want to actually see it go on. As disturbing as that might sound, I mean, this is a horror podcast, so you want some of the killings in there. And there was another thing that I was going to talk about. I just completely forgot what it was now. That was pretty much my biggest complaint, was just the lack of actually seeing the victims.
Yeah.
And you really, I mean, the scenes that you do get of Candyman are really good and really cool. And like you're saying, his voice, he just has this overpowering voice, and he comes across as very articulate when he talks. But I wanted more of him.
Yeah.
For Tony, this is like what Tony Todd is like known for, is Candyman.
Yeah.
And to be known for a movie that you're not really in that much, like in how long is this movie? Like an hour and a half long? He was maybe in 30 minutes of it.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
And I really would have liked to see more.
And it took a while for him to show up on screen. Yeah. It's not until that scene in the parking garage where he's there, and he's only he's in that scene for like not even 1 minute. He just like talks to her for a second, kind of walks toward her, and then she blacks out and wakes up. Yeah. So he's not even in that scene that much.
Yeah. So it would have been really cool to see more of that character.
Yeah. So I feel like this movie's a little like romanticized with which is kind of like the gothic feel that it has, and his whole like the way he talks and stuff is cool, but it just I don't know, it was a little weird. A little like just kind of out there for me with like some of the flashes. Like she would have these like flashes, or she would get like hypnotized by him or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, it made sense toward the end as to why it was affecting her so much. But it just, I don't know, it just felt a little off. And I've never been a big fan of like romanticized horror, like vampire movies or like Dracula and stuff. I've never really gotten into that. So for this to be a slasher and then have that element was, I don't know, kind of took me out of the fun of the movie. But I get why it's there. It's just not really my thing. And this isn't a typical slasher. So, I got to give it credit for that. It definitely did something different, and I can't think of any other movie I've seen like it. It's pretty original. So another thing,
it is based off of a novel, but
true.
Not really that
original movie. So there is another thing. So how we discover why he was targeting her. So it's at the end of the movie, or toward the end, not the end, because she's dead at the end, but toward the end, she's kind of discovering what's going on with Candyman, and the way she finds out is she's sees this like mural painting, and it has like written across it, "It was always you, Helen," or "It was always for you," or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it's like a picture of this lady, and who you would assume is Candyman. And you know from Candyman's story that he, was in love with this woman. And so then she looks at this picture, this painting, and it looks like any woman. It doesn't, it's not like it's what you're supposed to think, and somehow she came to realize is that's her. That woman is her somehow, like either reincarnated or
in another life,
or something, or Candyman just thought it was her because she looked like her. I don't know. But it doesn't even look like it's a cartoon. Like, I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that somebody would look at that and then think, oh, that looks like me. Oh, that's what it is. He, I don't know. It was kind of lame.
Like, just like that. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, that's me. Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand now. Like right away.
Yeah. Kind of lame. I like the connection there though. I just feel like they could have made that connection a little better. At least have the picture or the painting look more realistic or something. Because it didn't really look that much like her. I guess as much. I remember that. I don't know. It was a little weird. So yeah, that's what you're supposed to connect there, and somehow she did. There's another scene, and this is just kind of funny. I don't know if it's a negative.
She's a college graduate. She's smart.
Yeah, there you go.
She figures this stuff
out. So there's a baby that was taken by Candyman. Okay.
Yes.
So the baby is taken. So Helen, she's trying to get this baby back. And, one thing leads to another. Her, the baby, and Candyman end up in this huge pile of, like, stuff that is being set on fire.
Yeah.
And she is trying to get out of the fire. She has the baby in her arms, and she's trying to, like, escape this pile of stuff. And she does get out, and the baby does live, and she dies. She, like, burns to death, I guess. And...
yeah, that's how... yeah.
While...
that's how she dies, and then somehow comes back to life again.
How she is coming out, she's, like, crawling on her, like, elbows, like, knees and arms, trying to get out, while she's got the baby in her arm. Like, I'm thinking, she's smashing this baby.
Yeah.
Like, she's crawling out and she's putting like all of her body weight on her arms. So I don't know. I'm like,
this baby's gonna grow up to have some issues.
That would kill that baby. Like, that baby would be smashed. So I just thought that was funny because there's no way that baby would have survived how she was doing that. That
did seem a little crazy.
I really like the end.
Might as well just like thrown the baby at him, like in fire. Like,
there you go.
I would have probably
like, hey, catch
the baby as much as what she was doing.
Yeah. So yeah, she dies, but I really like the end and how because her husband's cheating on her, which is something you kind of know throughout the whole movie, but she doesn't find out until like way later in the film. And she's dead, and he's in the bathroom, and he's kind of like sad about it. And so the way that they had him say her name, it wasn't like he was doing it on purpose necessarily. He was just like, oh, Helen, like Helen, like he's like upset, and he's saying her name. And you as the viewer, like, oh, he's saying her name, like he's getting to the 5th time. He's in the bathroom at the mirror. Something's going to happen. And she shows up behind him, and it's like a strobe going off, like the lighting.
Yeah.
And her head's all burnt up and stuff, and she kills him at the end. Thought that was so cool. And that's what Candyman wanted. He wanted her to be with him and kind of, live together in this horror-filled life that they're going to have. So,
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked that scene.
Yeah.
It was a good way of ending a movie like this.
Yeah, very good.
It doesn't have its happy ending.
No.
I mean, it didn't anyway because the main character ended up dying.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the only happy thing was the baby lived.
Yeah.
So that's good. Okay. Let's go ahead and grade it. What do you think?
Right. I'm gonna give this one an 81.
Okay. I'm going 90.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I like this one. I'll watch this every so often. And okay, so something I didn't mention, and it is kind of talked about in the new film, but there is a part in this one where she's like looking around this abandoned apartment, and she sees like candy on the ground, picks it up, and she like opens up the candy, and there's like a razor that cuts her.
Oh,
and so it's kind of explained in the new film, but that's 30 years later that this is even discussed. So they go nowhere with that in this one.
They really don't.
There's no explanation as to why that's there. You think like maybe there's going to be something to do with the candy and the razors and Candyman, and maybe there's some connection, but that's it. It's just like a throwaway thing. Yeah. So I don't really get that. I haven't seen the second and third one. Maybe it's mentioned in those.
Maybe they talk about it more in those. Yeah. I haven't either.
I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was kind of weird because I remember seeing the trailer for the new film, and so then going back and watching the original I hadn't seen in a few years, and then seeing, oh, wait, that is part of this movie. Okay, the razors and the candy. Oh, maybe there's something I'm missing then. It's just, it never even is talked about again. So
yeah. No, it's really not at all in this movie.
Kind of throwaway.
It's cool that it's a throwaway scene that they were able to like actually use. Yeah, later on in like this new one. Yeah, like you said, unless they use it in 2 and 3, which we don't know. I do want to watch them just to watch them at some point. Yeah, just to like basically laugh at how ridiculous they are.
I think, I don't know, for some reason I think I'm gonna kind of like them. So we'll see. All right. Well, there is our review on Candyman from 1992. Yeah, so next episode, again, will be the Candyman 2021, and I'm sure we'll do some comparing and contrasting between the two films. And
it's inevitable, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be discussed.
I mean, it's a what do they call it? A spiritual sequel.
Yeah.
So it's a sequel and kind of like a reboot kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a later episode.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. This has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Candyman bite.
There you go.